There is no way Dragon Ball Daima really just did that. A lot of people are very angry about today's episode, but a lot of people are optimistic about the future based off the preview. Some people are saying this is likely going to be the last slow episode we get. I don't know about that, but next week's episode is definitely looking up, but I don't think this episode was as bad as people are saying. We're going to go in and launch into the review. We're also going to be talking about some previous speculation I did that I was 100% right on, but it was one of those things where if you were paying attention, you would have caught it regardless. So without further ado, let's jump into it. First, I want to say I like this moment whenever they were debating if they should turn into adults first with the Dragon Balls or get Dende. Of course, Dende has to come first, right? So that's cool that Piccolo went with Dende. Now, I do want to say before I go on, I will mention some spoilers about previous leaks that a certain YouTuber, Geekdom101, did. I'll definitely leave that at the end of the video, so if you don't want to be spoiled, again, I know some people are unhappy whenever I give the spoiler warnings because they'll watch and be like, those aren't really major spoilers. But again, if I don't give the spoiler warnings, then people also complain about that. So I'm just trying to cover all my bases. Now, I thought this was interesting. Degesu is terrible with children, terrible with babies. He's just a socially awkward person. And a lot of people are saying he's wasted. We'll get into that. Now, I did like the Garmory force. Okay, so you had Kadam, Daima, Hylia, Mashem, and Garmory, and then Vegeta easily takes care of them. Now, what I thought was fun is that these guys, if you separate them from the fact that this show has been a little bit slow-paced, I've enjoyed it for the most part, but it's a little bit slow-paced, and I don't expect that there have been many people that were really looking to these guys to be a big threat. I think we all kind of understood that they were just joke characters. So I think that they were a nice wrench to throw into things, and it was actually kind of funny. And I did think that Kadam, that's his name, right? Kadam actually has a cool ability. And they did that cool, funny thing where, you know, he's got some pretty cool effects. The fire looks cool. And then, of course, his buddy accidentally hits his hand with his gun. Gun flies out. The fireball flies off and just doesn't really hit its target, of course. And then Kadam has his hand hit, and now it's bruised and pulsing red. And then if you go on, the leader, Kadam, is actually a pretty kind guy. We saw this whenever he was buying chocolates for the Majin duo. So, again, I do see that some people are upset about them and how things went with them, but they weren't really with us for very long. And I think that you would have to really search for someone who actually considered them being actual threats to the heroes. So, that aside, let's move on. Of course, we have the group finally catching up with Degesu, saying, "Let Dende go." And then we had this cool look of Degesu, and of course, if you've seen my previous video, and we looked at the preview for this episode, I was kind of excited. I was like, ooh, Degesu, finally, we're getting some menacing Degesu. And then, of course, we actually got some of his motivation. He wants to be King of the Demon Realm. And then, of course, him and Supreme Kai are talking about how that really doesn't make sense. Degesu doesn't seem like he plans things ahead that much. But the irony, of course, is that his sister, Dr. Ariansu, is the one who does that. Then we have a little bit of more information about Supreme Kai. Goku's like, what do you do? He oversees peace and order in the universe. That does make sense whenever you couple it with his connection to Beerus, who, of course, is the god of destruction. So, makes sense. Beerus is all about destroying, and, you know, Supreme Kai is all about peace and order in the universe. I think that's a thing that a lot of people have already kind of noticed. So, it's like a nice little quote, I guess, to throw in there, just so if you're not familiar, here you go. Then, of course, Degesu gets taken out by the hat by Glorio, and then Piccolo lays the final blow, which I think is fitting for Piccolo to be the one to do it, and he looks pretty angry while he does it, of course, because, you know, Piccolo, I think, likes Dende. He did live on the lookout for a little bit with Dende, or, you know, the Sanctuary, or whatever you want to call it. And then, of course, Degesu has a bad time, obviously, and he gets taken out pretty easily. A lot of people are complaining about it, but again, like I said, Degesu was a bit of a disappointment, but that's only if you were really looking up. Like, if you were looking forward to something with Degesu, I just don't think this was going to be a show where Degesu really had a lot to do, because, of course, they had Dr. Ariansu. I think if you were looking for, like, an evil Supreme Kai type figure, again, Degesu and Ariansu are not Supreme Kais, they're Glens. But if you were looking for, like, that type of person that kind of looked like Supreme Kai but was evil, you're getting that with Ariansu. Degesu, I don't think was disappointing to me just because I never really had too high of hopes for him anyway. But I always was interested in more. And I guess I could say I'm disappointed that they didn't expand on him too much. He's just kind of there. But again, that's just kind of who he is. I mean, I can't really say that they did too much with him. And I'm just looking forward to see if Arinsu is going to be the same way. Hopefully they do more with Arinsu. So far they have. And then, of course, we had this nameless character. And we did finally get the confirmation that she was sent by Degesu to get the third eye. So good for you, Gomah. So Gomah's feeling betrayed. Like, oh no, Degesu is betraying me? What? And no, actually, he ended up actually profiting from Degesu. So good for you, Gomah. Then, of course, our heroes go to the Tamagami 1 in the first demon world. And there's no Dragon Ball. That's when Arinsu shows up, so I think this is cool that she's finally there to collect the other 2 Dragon Balls. Then, of course, we have Majin Buu here. Again, I really like Majin Buu's design. Glorio is interesting because he has that look in his eyes, and I had previously speculated, what is Glorio's deal? Is he slowly becoming friendly with our heroes? It looks like that may end up being the case, strangely enough. And then, of course, we have Arinsu here with the Dragon Balls. Look at that. Majin Buu looking cool. Kind of menacing. Look at you, Majin Buu. He's mean-mugging him. You know, I think he's putting on a good act. I think that they did a good thing with Majin Buu and Majin Buu by building up their characters to make us like them. That way, whenever they have this explosive battle, you really get a sense of awe. Like, wow. You know, like, you're really excited. You know, you're attached to Majin Buu and Majin Buu. You know what they can do. You've seen displays of their power, and you're almost rooting for them in a strange way. And then I think we end with this little scene with Glorio here. Again, that look in his eyes. Like, what is Glorio thinking? Is he thinking, oh no, I kind of like these guys now. I don't want to betray them. Or is he thinking, Dr. Arinsu, you're showing up a bit earlier than I thought you would? I don't think so, because he's been shown to be in constant contact. I think now that he's here, he's kind of having second thoughts about, you know, betraying his friends that, you know, he's met, you know, earlier at the beginning of the journey. And over time, he's grown to care for them. I do think that this is going to be our Vegeta-type character over the show. Arinsu's not changing. Ku and Du may, but Glorio, I feel like he's going to turn, possibly. That's just a theory. This was hilarious, the way she kept on pushing the eye in and out, in and out, in and out. I mean, it just cracked me up. I do want to say that, like, the first half of the episode was fine for me. But then, you know, things kept building up at a certain point in this episode, and I was like, dang, we're actually moving pretty fast. And then, of course, I was right, dude. I was right. Again, at the top of the video, I said that we would talk about how I was right. I don't think it was anything that a lot of people would take as too much of a surprise, but I'll go into why I was right in a moment. Of course, we see Gomah getting pretty big, pretty jacked. And this strange girl who remains nameless freaks out and runs. And we end with a good look at the third eye and Gomah's head. Now, I took a screenshot of this from my last video. This was Deborah's father, Abra. He has a very gigantic transformation here. So this is just basically what Gomah went through. Very powerful, so you just, you know, grow in size, basically, to, I guess, compensate or to show that visualization. So as far as this episode goes, I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10. If it was just the first act of the episode, the first half of the episode, I do think there were some funny moments, but it would have been like a 4 out of 10, honestly. The action wasn't that great. They really didn't animate it too hard, but again, in the second half of the episode, things kind of started picking up and the pace kind of started picking up, so I would give this a 6.5 out of 10. Now, before we get into the previews for the next episode, I just want to say one thing, that I will be going back to this spot once I get into the spoilers. So I want to give my speculation for the preview, and then I will give you a spoiler warning, and then we will get into some spoilers. And this is exciting because it looks like next episode is going to be a very big, very action-heavy episode, which makes sense. Goku Super Saiyan freaking out with a cool punch. Cool action scene of Vegeta. The Du and Ku duo looks like they're doing something pretty cool. It's awesome that Ku's actually getting in the fight. and it looks like he'll be doing something major. Again, people were clowning on Ku back in the day, saying that he was a fraud. He was not a fraud. Taimagami 1 was just powerful. I think that's what they were basically establishing. So I do think Ku is at least going to put up a decent fight against our heroes. And yeah, Vegeta's looking cool. Piccolo's looking cool. Next episode looks like it's going to be huge. Alright, now, with that being said, guys, let's get into the spoilers. So, Geekdom 101 previously leaked that the Gomah character, after he got the third eye, was going to look like a Pride Trooper. Now, I don't think he said it was after the third eye, but he did say something very interesting, and now we have context for it. Okay, to be fair, yeah, he did say Gomah with a third eye looks like a Pride Trooper he transformed. Yeah, so I think this is from his Discord, and he posted this on X to basically just confirm he had previously talked about this. Now, I did mention this previously, but because of how the show is going, I wanted to mention it again. As you see, Gomah here, he's transformed. And depending on how the fight goes next week, I do think there's a high possibility that the heroes get the Dragon Balls and they are able to wish to become adults again and put up a good fight against this new Gomah. And then Goku, as per Geekdom 101's leak, transforms. Now, previously, I talked about the Geekdom 101 leak and how there was going to be a new transformation. Back then, I don't think it was hard confirmed that Geekdom 101 was talking about Goku getting a new form, but he did a recent live stream where he straight up confirmed Goku would be the one getting the new form, and we would see this new form in February. And of course, we know that Dragon Ball Daima is ending at the end of this month, so let's get excited, let's get hype. It looks like these last few episodes are going to be very action heavy, hopefully, and they're going to feature some cool things that people love from Dragon Ball. As you can see, we already have a big Gomah here. Now, one thing I want to say is that it looks like they're still making Gomah's face like kind of, not like round, but more oval shaped, like Stewie Griffin's face. And for his small design, I thought that was charming. This way, though, I'm not sure how it's going to look. I'll have to see the full design. But yeah, we did get some leaks confirmed of the Pride Trooper looking Gomah. His cape just came off, and he basically does kind of look like a Pride Trooper. And then, of course, Goku will be transforming, getting a new form. How he gets it, Geekdom 101 would not expand upon, but we do know he is going to get it, and it is going to break the internet. So, everybody, hold on to your seatbelts. Dragon Ball Daima is getting insane. This review isn't as long as it usually is. That's mainly because this episode wasn't that crazy. There wasn't a lot to really review. It was pretty straightforward. Next episode, though, going to be insane. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe to keep up to date with all things Dragon Ball news and commentary. And I will see you in the next one. Peace off.